Welcome back to art. We are focusing on the 7 elements of art. And today, let's talk about space. Space is an optical illusion. Really, we're tricking your eye into thinking you can walk right into our artwork. Before we begin, let's say our mantra.
Are you ready? I'm ready. I am an artist.
I am an artist.
I am creative.
I am creative.
I make mistakes.
I make mistakes.
But mistakes are great.
But mistakes are great.
Because they help us learn.
Because they help us learn.
The first thing you need is a piece of paper turned the tall way. Find a straight edge. Now I couldn't find my ruler, so I had to use an envelope. You can use anything that provides you with a nice straight edge. Line that straight edge or ruler up at the top and draw a horizontal line across from side to side. Notice how I put it down from the top a little bit. This is called the horizon line. Next, let's add a vanishing point. This is a place where all lines disappear. So you need to make sure that every single line that you draw goes right to that vanishing point. Line up your ruler or straight edge to the vanishing point and give me one big letter A. We are using diagonal lines to draw that letter A. And actually, it's going to turn into a road that is vanishing towards the horizon line. It's going to kind of look like this. Draw the other side of the A, and then we are going to think about what could be farthest away. I'm going to draw a mountain line, and so I'm just drawing kind of a wavy, rough line that grows up bigger. Notice how I started at the vanishing point, and I'm going up, 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 and off to the side. To create the element of space, let's add some telephone poles that vanish to the vanishing point. So we need parallel lines, which are 2 lines that always are running in the same exact direction and they never cross over. Lay your ruler against the side of your paper and give me one vertical line. And notice how it's running parallel to the edge of the paper. Next, I want you to lay your ruler to the vanishing point. I guess I want to darken my line a little bit. You can do that too. Darken it, maybe make it a little thicker so you can see it. And then line up your ruler to the vanishing point and to the top of that vertical line. I don't think it looks like a pole yet, so we'll say to the top of the vertical line. Now we are going to do a little sliding, and we're going to slide all the way back until we vanish. And every single time we slide, we're going to make sure that we're parallel. So I can tell that my ruler is parallel to the vertical line. And slide again. Slide it back, make sure it's parallel to the edge of the paper, parallel to your line, and then keep going. Slide it back, draw the line. Slide it back, draw the line, and continue until you get so tiny that you're in the vanishing point, or you're near the vanishing point. Now, if your lines start to lay down, you might have to erase and try again because you want them to be the same and you want them to be parallel. Now we're going to create those dashes so it looks like a road that's getting farther and farther away. And I'm making my dashes start big and then they get smaller and smaller as we go. What else could I add to this landscape? I could draw a house on the side. So I'm using my straight edge. I'm making a parallel line again that's parallel to the side and it's vertical. Then I'm going to scoot over my ruler, my envelope, and I'm going to draw a second parallel line because I want to make a square. And a square has to be facing me or it has to be very straight and parallel to the edge. I'm going to draw the bottom of my square. Always lining things up, making sure that I can get it so it's nice and straight. Then I'm doing the top of it, and I'm just going to do one of those very basic houses that's got a dot at the top and it's got a little triangle at the top. You could have put your house over to the side, you could have put it a little farther back or closer to you, it's all okay. So I'm finishing off that triangle, and then I'm going to put a dot on each of the corners, because I want the corners to go to the vanishing point. Those corners have to go to the vanishing point because remember the rule, every line that you're drawing goes to the vanishing point when you want to make it look like it's disappearing or it has space. So now I am going to draw some details on the front of my house, and I'm just going to do a door and a window, just a couple little simple things to make some special little details on it. I could do more later. And then I don't want my house to look like it's the longest house ever, so I line up my ruler straight edge on the front line, and then I slide it back because that front line has to be the same as the back line. Line it up, slide it back, and now those two lines are parallel. The front of the house to the back of the house are the same two lines. It would basically, if you were using a computer, it would be like copy and paste it back. Now I tried to use my envelope to make these little roof lines, and look at what I'm doing. I am not even lining them up to the vanishing point. So yes, mistakes are great. I just learned what it has to look like, and I decided to eye it. So I'm going to put in details just by eyeballing it and making sure that it looks like it is parallel to all the other lines. I'm going to keep adding in some different little details, a little window. After the window, I'm going to add in some trees, and I'm going to follow the rules of creating space. Anything that I draw that's close to the house or close to the bottom of my paper is going to be big, and then anything that is farther away is going to get smaller and smaller. So the first tree that I'm drawing is big, the next tree is going to be smaller, and it's going to continue on with smaller trees farther back because that's going to also help with creating space. Now before I use a Sharpie and color, you have a choice. If you would like to thicken up your telephone poles, you can certainly do that. That can help them look more realistic, but this is a choice. You do not need to do this, but you can do it if you would like to. To do that, you just make them a little bit thicker with another parallel line. You add a horizontal line that's short, and then you add the telephone wires that go all the way off the page. Notice that they do not stop, but they go off the page. That is a choice. When you're finished, it's time to use a Sharpie, and I'm going to use a Sharpie just by copying on top of the lines, but I'm not going to use a ruler. Sometimes people want to make it so perfect, but I think it's just fine to just go over the lines with your Sharpie and fill in the places that you want, and even just draw with your Sharpie. Maybe you want to add more trees. Yes, the road was probably the hardest part to trace and stay straight, but I just decided to go for it and learn as I went. Enjoy the process of finishing up your artwork. You can color, you can add value, you can take your time and even add more details. And everybody say, today in art. Today in art, we talked about space. We talked about space. We learned how to draw. We learned how to draw the horizon line with the vanishing point, to make it look like you could walk right into our artwork. Have a wonderful time creating your masterpieces.